It's hard to remember a time when no one knew Arcade Fire. But back in 2001, a lanky American boy, fairly new to Montreal, started jamming with a local girl with an accordion. Add in a collection of musicians, and Arcade Fire was born. Playing small bars, sometimes for just drink tickets in return. It wasn't long until the buzz kicked in and crowds went from a few dozen to a few thousand. Within 3 years, the band released their first album, Funeral, and the music collective became a music phenomenon.
And the Grammy goes to the Suburbs, Arcade Fire.
What the hell?
From Grammy and Juno Awards to Saturday Night Live and sold-out shows, Arcade Fire has achieved smashing success across the world, all the while remaining true to their roots. Régine Chassang's Haitian lineage plays a major role in the band's consciousness. Influencing their sound, particularly on its most recent album, Reflector. And if that isn't enough, the Unusual Band is taking the unusual step of challenging its fans to dress up for its current tour, including its most recent show in Toronto, where I sat down with lead singer Win Butler. You like to push people, obviously, with your music. You've influenced a lot of people, but also the audience. Like you've insisted that people come dressed up.
Even if you don't feel like dressing up, which is super fine, you're not bummed that like someone's wearing like an awesome, like that there's a beautiful girl like wearing a glittery dress next to you. You're not like, oh, what a bummer.
Ruined my evening.
This ruined my evening. Like it was all going good, and then this guy dressed as a Ninja Turtle next to me kind of ruined my night. Like you can't kind of help but smile. It's just, it's not like us dictating to our fans. It's more of like a communal thing.
So you got a bit of flack for that, for being, I don't know, a bit bossy or presumptuous, but people are actually doing it, right?
We didn't get flack from anyone who was planning on coming to the show. You know, I think it's part of the internet age to kind of quibble over stuff, and then 3 or 4 or 5 people kind of, it makes it seem like it's a bigger deal than it is, because the atmosphere of the shows has been some of the best we've ever played. You know, it's like, like these arena shows have been kind of as intimate as a lot of the club shows you've done, and just as fun, and we're able to kind of be in the crowd for some of the opening acts and dancing like in the crowd, because you can wear a mask, so you can kind of be hanging out with the audience, and so in a way it feels like we were closer to our audience than we have been before.
The co-leader of the band is your wife. Now you have a baby. Is it hard to have a family life on the road in a rock and roll band?
No, it's great. I mean, my brother's in the band, and all of us are so close. I mean, we've been, you know, when we go home, we have barbecues at each other's houses, and you know, like any family, it's like you see people more and less in different years. But
well, and you grew up in a musical family, I guess.
Yeah, my mom's family, all her cousins, all her aunts and uncles were all musicians, and they were all at each other's houses. And
so does your son play the guitar yet, or?
He's 10 months, so he doesn't. He'll hit anything. So if it's a guitar, yeah, he'll hit it. But no, I mean it's the more it feels like a traveling society, and we've always tried to hire people that we're friends with, and that we can, you know, like everyone in our crew, they're all really lovely people, and as the thing gets bigger, we just try and bring back the people that we like to work with, and so the more it kind of feels like a little traveling society, the kind of healthier it feels.
You've used your fame for example, to raise money for Haiti, where your wife is from.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of been doing this program where $1 from each of the tickets for every show that we do goes to organizations working in Haiti. But I mean, Partners in Health, who's been one of the main people we've supported, they had a hospital in Haiti. But then the Haitians went and trained the Rwandan care workers, because the Rwandan government asked the Haitians to help them set up their system in Rwanda. So Haiti's one of those places that I think that if you can do it in Haiti, you can kind of duplicate it anywhere. So in a way, for a lot of aid work, it's like the best work coming out of Haiti ends up being a model for the way that you treat a lot of these intractable problems.
Are there Canadian causes that are you political about stuff here?
The last thing that, to speak positively was the kind of student, like during the whole student protests in Quebec, because our studio is right in the heart of Montreal, so some of those protests with like 300,000 kids in the streets, it felt like a younger generation than mine that was extremely engaged and really politically active in a way that I hadn't experienced in my generation. And someone had the idea in Montreal, they did the thing with pots and pans. So like every day at 5 p.m., everyone, be old people and young people would come out on their porch and hit pots and pans, and there's this magical thing in the city. You walk around and you hear this sound coming through the city. And with politics, I'm not a very cynical person. I know that there's a lot of cynicism in politics, but when I see that many kids engaged in politics and out in the streets, and I see it as even if in the short term there's some kind of political back and forth, I think generally it's a good thing.
You even wore their insignia was the red square. You wore that when you were on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because we were Mick Jagger's backing band, and he kind of happened to wear this red shirt, and everyone was like, "Yeah, Mick's with us."
He's with the students.
Well, he did write Street Fighting Man. That was kind of during the whole student protests in the '60s, so I bet he wouldn't be too opposed to it.
This whole values charter thing, that's created a bit of controversy there.
Yeah.
You're American. You moved to Montreal. Yeah. Is it still the kind of place you want to live in when that?
Well, Montreal is extremely open. I think that, like a lot of cities within a larger province, Montreal is like one of the most ethnically diverse, interesting. When I moved to Montreal from New York, and Montreal had all the qualities that I had always heard that New York had, which was cheap rent, art, people from different parts of the world, different foods, different kind of cultures. And Montreal still very much has that. It's an immigrant city. Even within Canada, all of us are immigrants to Montreal, either from the States or from other parts of Canada. There's always students coming, there's always musicians and artists coming. So, I'm not exactly like moving in provincial politics spheres, but I'm optimistic for the future of Montreal and the future of Quebec and whatever. I don't think I've spent a lot of time in France, and I don't think that France is necessarily who I would model my charter of anything after, because they have got some major race problems and major, conflict there. But I don't know. I've got an incredible amount of faith in Quebec, and I'm not planning on leaving there anytime soon.
I have one more completely non-political question to ask you. What is your all-time favorite Canadian song?
Does Neil Young count, or I don't know? That's kind of a stretch.
Yeah. No, we still claim him.
You still claim him?
Mm-hmm. Neil Young got in trouble for spouting off about the oil sands.
That was funny, though. You have to give it to him. I thought he had a pretty good retort to, like, rock stars with your using your oil. And he's like, actually, I have a green car that it cost me no oil to get here. But
so you have no problem with rock stars spouting off?
Everyone should spout off.
Well,
taxi drivers, rock stars, anyone. I think that kind of passionate discourse is, it's definitely not. There's not too much of it in society.
It's been a real pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.